So Ohio State football talk each and every week with Tony Gerdeman, Steve Hellwagon, and Kevin Noon. You can catch Kevin on Buckeye Grove, Tony on the ozone.net. Steve Hellwagon joins us from Bucknuts on 247 Sports. People concerned about Tony Grimes' decision, number one cornerback in the country, number one player out of Virginia, top 10 player in the nation, regardless of position, and also comments in the live chat, gentlemen, about Treyveon Henderson and Oklahoma writers saying that he's going to flip to OU. Do you have any thoughts about either one of those dramas?
Tony Grimes is going to go to UGA. Treyveon Henderson's not going to flip. Next.
Yeah, I think even Henderson himself was playing with people on Twitter yesterday about that. And I saw Kevin in particular, I think, post a reply, ain't recruiting grand. You know, the neat thing about this is it's May 20th, and these guys can't sign until on or about December the 20th, give or take a day or two. So they've only got 7 more months of this crap to deal with. He's going here. Oh, he took a visit there, whatever. There's going to be some of that happens. And even Urban Meyer would always say, as I'm going back over these old recruiting classes, I want to say it was Jamarco Jones who made a late visit to Michigan State, perhaps, and then picked Ohio State on signing day or the day before. And he'd been committed, and I think I have the right name. And Urban Meyer said, look, he said he was just going to make sure. And he said that I want guys that are sure and have exhausted all of the visits or gotten all the information they need to get, basically the gist of what he had to say. So I think we have to give these kids a little bit of leeway. I know it was noted that there's been over 700 commitments so far, whereas at this time last year was in the 300 or 400 range. And so, as one of the great experts nationally has said, get ready for the greatest decommitment season in the history of college football. Once everyone's been freed from their cabin and can go out and explore this great new world of ours out there and see what all's out there and see campuses they've never been to and meet assistant coaches and head coaches they've never met before and, get up and close and personal and find out what really is out there for them. Although I don't see a lot of guys decommitting from Ohio State as the market leader right now in the sport. So, I just think it is going to be a volatile.
And if there aren't a bunch of decommits, expect the transfer portal to be even busier over the next couple of years as well.
I was going to say that this really is something that was talked about with South Florida guys, but I think it's getting wider now. When a kid commits somewhere at this point, the saying is, well, now we know who leads. And I'll even say when it comes to some South Florida kids and maybe other ones now as it broadens, you almost don't want to be the school at this point, because it's tough to hold on to a kid's commitment for 10, 11, 12 months or whatnot. And while we do see a couple kids who will decommit and then end up at the school that they initially committed to, that's not the trend. And, so does any of that really apply directly to Ohio State's top-ranked recruiting class on both of the major services? No, I don't believe so. As Steve said, as the market leader, Ohio State is in, kids aren't going to jump out of those spots more than likely. But, we could be in for some bumpy times just in terms as an industry, watching a lot of kids who could be, top 100, top 250 type kids who could be all about, various other places once this stuff opens up.
That's good business, though. Like for the sites and the networks, decommitment season, that'd be great too, right?
Yep. Just not with Ohio State, we have to put out enough fires with all that.
It would also be good business for college football like the NFL to have a schedule release each off season. That's what I'm proposing. Not everybody running around making their own schedules 12 years in advance. You have a schedule release and you put it in the hands of a committee that has a lockdown on metrics and what would be a fair schedule. Matthew Braz picking on my 1997 Missouri comment about them being marginal. I thought I used the terms marginal to decent. 7-5, lost to a 5-win Kansas team. lost by 30 points to Kansas State. Yeah, 7-5. I'm going to stay with marginal to decent, Matthew. I'm going to stand by that. All right, talking Ohio State football, you got to subscribe to get the notifications to know when we are on. Tony Gerdeman, Steve Hellwagon, and Kevin Noon. I don't know whether to dive into this. We'll leave this one for later. You guys won't have to do any homework on this. Well, you don't have to do any homework on anything. But the more I comb through the comments on, we'll tease everyone for a future topic that's more of a legacy overarching topic on JT Barrett. I don't think that there's ever going to be another player that's going to be as polarizing as JT Barrett, and he continues to be. He's got his huge fans and his detractors on the other end, and we'll just have to dive into his legacy at another time. But the comments are all over the place regarding JT Barrett on the videos that have already been posted.
Yeah, you can ask us to start commenting on that as it's time to go.
Yeah, let's not do that. Let's not dive into that one. It'll be a great conversation. Dennis, I got to credit Dennis because I jump on Dennis all the time. He's a Miami fan, but he's faithfully here all the time and commenting and shares the videos and does all sorts of good stuff for the channel, commenting that the Big Ten is terrible outside of the Suckeyes, my man. Dennis, please, ACC, Big Ten, I try to cut it as straight as I possibly can. Yes, truth be known, Ohio State fan, grew up in Big Ten country, but we run the metrics here. I try to be as fair as possible. I go back to 2016. I opted for Penn State in the playoff. I try to just cut it and see it like it is. And by any metric, there is no Wisconsin, Penn State, Michigan, Iowa level in the ACC right now. It drops down to like the 25th or 30th best team in the country. So there's just no comparison right now. Play another football season, and we'll talk after 2020.